Every story you've ever heard about menopause starts with what you're losing. Your estrogen, your figure, your sleep, your mind, your patience, your sense of self. Loss, as if menopause is just one long subtraction. Well, today I want to ask you a different question and tell you a different story. Not some woo-woo reframe of a naive version of the truth, but a different story, a true one. And it starts with a few questions. What if menopause is not the beginning of the end? What if it's the end of pretending you're fine with things that aren't fine? What if it's your body forcing a redesign you've needed for years and never had the crisis to justify? What if this is actually the good bit? I'm Laura, this is the Riviera Menopause podcast, and this is the episode where we lift our heads up. Today we're stepping back and asking a bigger question. What's all of this for? Who are you becoming? And what does the next chapter look like if you actually design it, instead of just enduring it? The cultural story of menopause is your best years are behind you. Youth was the peak. Fertility was your value. And now you're in decline. You should manage your symptoms quietly. Buy some nice creams, and accept that the exciting part is over. That story is everywhere. It's in the way older women are invisible in advertising, the way the wellness industry markets menopause using words like coping and surviving and relief, language that positions you as a patient, not a person. And the most dangerous thing about that story is not that it's told to you, it's that you start telling it to yourself. You start shrinking. You start expecting less. You start saying, well, at my age, as if your age is a limitation rather than a qualification. That story is wrong, not partly wrong, fundamentally wrong. And the evidence tells a completely different story. The evidence says that women who actively manage their menopause transition, who build muscle, manage stress, eat strategically and develop a clear identity around their health, don't just maintain their quality of life, they improve it. They come out the other side stronger, more self-aware, and with a level of intentional health management that most people never achieve at any age. The science does not support the decline narrative. The science supports the redesign narrative, and that's the story I want to tell you today. Because there are some things that menopause forces you to do. It forces you to pay attention to your body in a way you haven't done since your 20s. Before menopause, most women operate on autopilot. You eat whatever, sleep whenever, and your body more or less cooperates. Your hormones do the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Then menopause arrives and the autopilot just stops working. The meal that used to be fine now crashes your energy. The sleep that used to happen now doesn't. And you're forced to become intentional about what you eat, how you move, how you manage stress, how you sleep, what you are and what you want. And that intentionality makes women better. Not in a toxic positivity way, but in a measurable way. Women who respond to menopause by building strong foundations, who strength train, eat strategically, manage cortisol, reduce inflammation, and develop a clear identity around their health, are building a body and a life that's more resilient and more intentional than anything they had before. I know women in their 50s who are stronger than they were at 30, who sleep better than they did at 40, who understand their bodies better than they ever have. Not because menopause was easy, because it's not, and don't misunderstand me here, but because menopause forced them to do the work they should have been doing all along, and the work paid off. And here's the part that really matters. These women are not just healthier, they're happier. Not in a surface level Instagram wellness way, in a deep structural way. Because when you take control of your body, something shifts in how you see yourself. You stop being the woman that things happen to. You become the woman who decides what happens next. And that shift, from passive to active, from surviving to designing, changes everything. Not just your health, your career, your relationships, your sense of what's possible. I want to ask you a question most women have never been asked. What do you want to feel like at 60? At 65? At 70? Not what do you want to look like, what do you want to feel like? What do you want to be able to do? I want to hike in the hills around Monaco with my friends and not be the one who has to stop. I want to pick up my grandkids without worrying about my back. I want to travel without exhaustion. I want to wake up feeling clear. I want to look in the mirror and see a strong woman. I want energy for the things that matter and the wisdom to stop wasting energy on things that don't. Those are specific, physical, achievable, and every single one is more likely if you build the foundations now, because the decisions you make in your 40s and 50s about muscle mass, bone density, metabolic health, and stress management are the decisions that determine your 60s, 70s, and 80s. What you do now compounds. Most women have never thought about their health in these terms. Most women are managing the present. What hurts today? What's keeping them awake tonight? What's making them anxious this week? And those things matter. But the women who thrive in menopause and beyond are the ones who lift their eyes to the horizon and ask, what am I building? Not just for this month, for the next decade, for the next 3 decades. Because when you're building something, a bad week is a setback. When you're just coping, a bad week is defeat. So I'm not asking you to survive menopause. I'm asking you to use it. Use the forced attention. Use the crisis. Build something better than autopilot ever gave you. Let me tell you about 3 women. The names have changed, but the stories are real. The first came to me at 51. She was told by her GP her symptoms were just aging. She was exhausted, overweight, anxious, hadn't exercised in 3 years. 12 months later, she runs her own business. She strength trains 3 times a week. She sleeps 7 hours a night and told me, I'm more myself now than I have been since my 20s. The second woman was 48. She was seriously considering leaving her job because brain fog and anxiety was so severe she didn't trust herself professionally. Within 3 months of addressing her foundation, so her blood sugar, cortisol, sleep, hydration, her brain fog reduced by what she described as about 80%. She didn't leave her job. She got promoted. The third, at 53, had never picked up a dumbbell. She started with bodyweight exercises in her living room and 6 months later, deadlifting 60 kilos. She said, I'm stronger at 54 than I was at 34, and I'm not just talking about the weights. These women are not exceptional. They're normal women who did something different. They stopped treating menopause as a thing to survive and started treating it as a prompt to rebuild. That difference is available to every woman listening. And I want to point out what these 3 women have in common. It's not that they're uniquely disciplined. It's not that they have more time or more money or fewer responsibilities. It's that they decided to respond to menopause with strategy instead of resignation. They decided to build foundations instead of chase symptoms. They decided that the next chapter would be written by them, not by their hormones. And that decision, that fundamental decision to take agency, is the starting point. Everything else follows from it. And it's not easy. It's never easy. It's hard. It's hard being a menopausal woman trying to get stuff done and trying to get through the day. It's also hard working out. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder to do both of those things if you don't start doing something now. Choose your hard. So your one thing this week. Write one sentence that starts, in 5 years, I will be the woman who, and finish it. Make it specific. Make it physical. About what you can do, not what you look like. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see every day. Let it pull you forward. I started this podcast talking to the woman lying awake at 3 a.m. And I hope she's beginning to see something she couldn't see then. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the end of operating on autopilot. And what comes next can be the strongest, clearest, most purposeful chapter of your life. This is the vision that drives everything I do, because I don't believe menopause is a thing to endure. I believe it's a launchpad for the next 30 years. I've sat across the table from women who believed the best was behind them. Tired, frustrated and resigned, and I've watched them over weeks and months stand up straighter, speak more clearly, take up more space, because they built the foundations that gave them the physical and mental energy to become who they were always capable of being. Menopause didn't diminish them, it redirected them, and the women they became on the other side were formidable. This is what I want for you, not survival, not coping, not getting through, formidable. And if that sounds ambitious, good. It should be. You are worth an ambitious vision. Next week, we're going somewhere you might not expect. We're talking about your gut. Specifically, why your digestive system has recently developed a personality of its own, what that has to do with your hormones, and why the bloating that appeared from nowhere is not in your head. It's more interesting than it sounds, I promise. And it connects to a lot more than just digestion. If this episode made you sit up a bit straighter, send it to a woman who's been telling herself that the best is behind her. Tell her, it's not. The best is being built right now. I'm Laura. This is the Riviera Menopause, and the plot twist? You're the author of your life. So for now, that's me signing off with love from Monaco.